How we doing, everybody? Chef Joe Lester, Long Island Cuisine. So tonight we're gonna make some meatballs, Italian meatballs. There's a million recipes that I have in my head, made them all kinds of ways. This is just one way. Normally what I do is I take semolina bread, I dice it, soak it in milk, but I don't have semolina bread today. But I do have 4C panko breadcrumbs, which I love. You know, I love the family, I love the way it tastes. And once I put everything together, all I'm going to do is add black pepper and pecorino romano cheese. I have a bunch of Italian parsley fresh. I have about maybe 8 pieces of fresh basil, 1 whole shallot. You could use onion if you want, white onion, red onion. I have 2.5 pounds of ground veal, ground beef, and ground pork. So what I'm going to do is I have my organic eggs over here. I usually use like 1 egg to a pound of meat. So I'm going to use 3 eggs. I have my organic milk over here. I have my olive oil, which I'm going to saute the shallots and garlic, okay? Or maybe an ounce, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop the shallots. I already have chopped garlic, which I'm going to use 1/2 teaspoon of fresh garlic. And I'm going to whip the 3 eggs in this bowl. I'm going to add about maybe 3 ounces of organic milk to that. And then I'm going to start the process of making the meatballs. Okay, I will see you in a bit. Okay, so I have my little bit of olive oil, about an ounce in there. I have my shallots, okay. So I'm going to saute these nicely, okay. And what I'm going to do is add 1/2 teaspoon of fresh chopped garlic. This is garlic from California. And I'm just going to saute this. And I like to cook the, I mean, you could use onions also, but I'm using shallots for this. And the garlic. I like to cook this and add it to my meatball mix. You could add it raw if you like, but I like to cook it because I like to get the flavor out of the onions or shallots and garlic. So this is cooking perfectly. And now you smell this, you know, it's like incredible. And so I have my 3 eggs that I beat to double the volume. About 3 ounces of organic milk. And, I mean, you can use heavy cream or half and half if you like. Whatever, however, I mean, meatballs are like one of these sacred recipes. Everybody has their own recipe. Unfortunately, I have many. So now this is cooked perfectly. I'll shut this off because it's starting to caramelize just a little bit. And that's what I'm looking at. You have this over here? Mm-hmm. All right, see? Yeah, so now we're talking. All right, so now I have these incredible ingredients. I have that blend, which I love to make meatballs with, 3 different types of meats. I mean, sometimes I make them with just beef, It depends. It depends on my clientele, and, some people can't eat pork, which is no big deal. I'll use beef and veal. But I like them with both. All right, so now this is perfect. Yeah, caramelized exactly the way I need it. Which brings it to a different level when you're making meatballs. Just like if you're cooking anything. Anybody could put all ingredients in that at the same time, but there's different levels of cooking, which I always explain to you. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I have I had that small bunch of fresh Italian parsley and the basil. So I chopped that fine, all right? So I'm just adding this to this to get that flavor out. Yeah, so now the parsley's coming out. the basil. I mean, sometimes I'll add oregano, like a touch. I don't really use too much oregano in many things. Maybe some Greek cooking here and there. But for this, it's just a simple meatball recipe. I have the oven preheated at 450. Now you can saute these in a cast iron pan, or you can just plop it into your Sunday sauce. And that's what the beginning of this is. I'm going to make a Sunday sauce. But I wanted to get this out of the way because, you know, the Sunday sauce is definitely a process. Okay. So now I'm going to keep this over here. I'm going to add my chopped meat. You know, my veal and pork and beef. It's 2.5 pounds, so I used 3 eggs. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix this. I'm going to mix this really good. And then I'm going to add my 4C panko breadcrumbs. Again, you know, sometimes I use, the semolina bread and I soak it in milk. But this is going to make it nice and moist. You know, it's important that your meatballs are moist, not like lead balls. So with the eggs whipped up double its size, and like 3 ounces organic milk. And I'm going to add some fresh ground black pepper. And I have my pecorino romano cheese. And so as far as the breadcrumbs go, I'm going to show you in a little while, like, how much this is going to take. You know, once this absorbs the milk and the eggs, it's going to bring it to a different consistency. All right, so could you add 1 teaspoon of the pecorino romano? Okay, perfect. Now, remember the 4C breadcrumb already has pecorino romano cheese in it, and it's already seasoned, so I'm not adding any salt to this. So let's add this to this. The onions and garlic. Shallots and the garlic. Yep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, so now we're going to add some breadcrumbs to this. Just add some breadcrumbs. Yep. Yeah, I can't fit my paws in there. Okay, that's plenty. And some fresh ground black pepper. You just add that. Now, if you're in a restaurant, of course, you have to chill the onions and the garlic. But since I'm making these meatballs right here, I don't have to worry about that, you know. Okay, it's perfect. Perfect. Okay, so look. See how easy this is? Oh, man. Okay. Now, I'm not going to taste this because I won't have to because, you know, the breadcrumbs are seasoned. We add the pecorino romano cheese, so it's got plenty of salt. And now I just have to make the meatballs. I have a pan here, and I sprayed the parchment paper with Pam spray oil. And I'm going to make my little meatballs, and I'm going to roast them because it's easier for me right now instead of sauteing them in a cast iron pan, which I love too. But sometimes you just make the meatballs and you plop them right into the sauce, you know, without even browning them. So it all depends on what you like, you know. I like them all. All right, so now what I have to do is I have to get a little pot of water, cold water, and I'm going to make these meatballs, and I'm just going to put them on this pan here. And then the reason why I use the cold water is so my hands don't stick. Okay, so now we're making our meatballs. I have my little bowl of cold water so the meat doesn't stick to your hands Makes it easier to make the meatball. So I mean, like you think about like the amount of chopped meat, 2.5 pounds, and how much we're going to yield from this, which is, you know, pretty significant, I think. All right, so you make the little meatballs. You know, in a professional kitchen, you're using ice cream scoops, because doing this by hand when you're making thousands doesn't make sense. So it would cost you like $400 a meatball because of labor. All right, so see how easy. And I told you I have the oven on 450, and I'm going to check it after like about a half hour. So, you know, once they're nice and golden brown, they're done. And then we just plop it in the sauce, you know, it's, yeah, see? Yeah, again, everybody makes their own meatballs, and I love them all. We make all kinds of, you know, teriyaki meatballs, Swedish meatballs, like, you know, you name it, we make it. But, see, we got 5, 10, 15, 15. Usually what happens when you're making them by hand like this, you get lazy, you know, so the meatballs start getting bigger. It's just one of those things. All right, here we go. Almost done. So 5, 10, 15, 16, 18 meatballs out of 2.5 pounds of meat. And now I'm just going to pop these in the oven, and we're done. And I'll be back with the final product, and then we're going to have to taste these little bad boys. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, so we arrived. So we made our 18 meatballs out of 2.5 pounds of veal, chopped meat, you know, beef, chopped meat, and pork. And all the ingredients that I put in there, which I showed you. And then what we're going to do is we're going to plop these into our beautiful Sunday sauce. And now I have to taste. Yeah, it smells, it's just a beautiful meatball. And again, everybody makes them different, but this is only one way I make them, you know? So sometimes you got to adapt. So let me taste this. Let me taste this little lily. Mmm. Mmm. Yeah. Mmm. Wow. Doesn't need so salt. No, the 4C seasoned breadcrumbs Italian, and that pecorino romano cheese, fresh parsley, fresh basil. Yeah, this is a great meatball. And thank you for watching Long Island Cuisine. Likes, comments, and you know, you want to subscribe? It's beautiful. Thank you.